Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, we are back into our weekly study of the Bhagavad-Gītā. So we are studying the 7th chapter. So, since it's been a few weeks, we'll do a short review of what we have discussed, coming up into this 23rd verse, which we'll discuss today. So we remember at the end of the 6th chapter, Krishna said that the yogi who is most intimately united with him is one who is in full consciousness of him, who is performing devotional service with faith. It's yoginam api sarvesham mad-bhaktā antavat devān bhajate yomam samayut mataha. So Krishna begins to explain in the beginning of this 7th chapter a very important topic. And that important topic Krishna is explaining is how one can be in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord every moment of our life. So we sometimes feel like that is not practical. That while I'm in the office, while I'm performing various duties, I cannot be thinking of Krishna. Well, sure, while I'm in the temple, or maybe doing my japa, or maybe sitting in Bhagavad-Gita discussion, it's possible. But at other times it's not. And it's sometimes how we think. So Krishna is going to show us in this chapter, which is entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. He's giving knowledge about himself, about the absolute truth. And he's speaking here in the beginning of this chapter, starting in verse 4. How Krishna is present everywhere through his various energies. He says everything inanimate that is matter in this world is Krishna's apara shakti, his inferior energy. And everything that is spirit, living entities, that is his para shakti. So no matter what we are doing, we are constantly in association with either Krishna's material energy or his spiritual energy. There is no way for us to be. So he says that the earth, air, fire, water, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, all these constitute my separate energies. So everything we are interacting with in this material world is Krishna's energies. And we know that Krishna is non-different from his energies. So just like we can say in some ways sunlight is non-different from the sun itself. So similarly, Krishna's energies and he himself are non-different. So everything we interact with, we can see, oh, this is Krishna's inferior energy. I'm interacting with Krishna. When we go and see some beautiful scenery, it is also Krishna's energy manifested in earth, air, fire, water. Then Krishna spoke in the 7th verse how he is the ultimate truth. There is no truth superior to him. So though Krishna is present everywhere, we don't see it. He is holding everything together in this material world for us to be able to enjoy. And he gives the analogy analogy. What is the analogy he gives? Anybody remembers?
Pearls on a string.
Pearls on a string. So when we have a pearl necklace, in a pearl necklace, we see all the pearls are nicely situated. But what is holding those pearls together? There is a string that is tying them all together nicely. Okay? Just like our tulsi mala, we wear tulsi mala necklaces. What is tying them all together? There's a string. Though the string is invisible, we know by the presence of the order of the necklace that the string is there. So similarly, Krishna is saying, by the order in all the world we see around us, how the sun rises so perfectly every day in the eastern horizon, how the plants emit oxygen and the humans emit carbon dioxide and vice versa. All these wonderful arrangements of how the atmosphere protects us from the different rays of the sun. All that arrangement is done by Krishna. Though we don't see it, like we don't see the string within the pearls, it is all resting upon Him, he is saying. So all the things we experience in this world that allow us to live, we should see Krishna. It is Krishna who is facilitating that. Nothing else. Then Krishna begins to speak. Not only is he the source of everything, he is the essence of everything. And he began to say that I am the original fragrance of the earth. When we plant a flower seed, a jasmine flower seed into the ground, where does the fragrance of the jasmine come from? Where does that wonderful fragrance come from? The earth. And who put that fragrance there? That's Krishna. So he says, I am the fragrance of the earth. I am the heat and fire. Without the heat of fire, what things can we manufacture in the factory? How many factories can manufacture anything without fire? Without the heat of fire in the belly, we cannot even digest one spoonful of food. So Krishna is showing that he is even the fire, the heat in the fire, which allows us to even digest food stuff. He says he is the taste of water, the all-nourishing water. He is even that. So the essence of everything that we experience, that is also Krishna. And ultimately he says, then I am the controller of everything. Everything is working under my jurisdiction. So he is the source of everything. Apara Shakti, one of those two energies, just emanating from him only. He is the essence of everything. He says, I am the intelligence in mankind. Whatever it is that we're able to even create within this world with our intelligence, Krishna is the source of that. And he is controlling and orchestrating everything. So with this knowledge, then what is the conclusion for us? What should we do? Krishna says in the 14th verse, and he'll say throughout the Bhagavad-Gītā, what is the conclusion? Knowing this, what shall we do? What is the whole goal of Bhagavad-Gītā? Surrender to Krishna. Knowing, seeing Krishna in all aspects of our life, we should then surrender to Krishna. Child-mother relationship is one of surrender. Baby surrenders to mother, saying mother is providing all sustenance of life. So this material energy is very, very difficult. Very difficult to overcome. It's difficult to even see Krishna in all aspects of our life. Why? Because of Krishna's divine material energy. But how to overcome his energy? He says in the 14th verse, just surrender unto me, and one can easily overcome it. Right? The divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So this material energy becomes very easy to overcome when we surrender to a higher power. Right? A weaker power is always overcome by a higher power. Who is the source of the material energy? Krishna. So who can control the material energy? Krishna. He is the controller of everything. So by surrendering to Him, one can easily overcome the material energy. So what is the meaning of surrender? When we discussed this verse, we talked about 6 symptoms of surrender. Now this is a really good test. Anyone remembers what are the 6 symptoms of surrender? It was so memorable. So we should see these are the symptoms that we can try to bring about. Because when we say surrender, we don't know exactly what that means. What does surrender mean? So let's explain. There are 6 symptoms of surrender. The first is to accept those things which are favorable for our Krishna consciousness. That is a symptom of surrender. When we accept the processes of chanting, reading, association, taking Krishna prasadam, rendering service, these activities that are favorable. And 2, the second symptom is we reject those things which are unfavorable. Those are the regulator principles. Avoiding illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, and other unfavorable activities. So accepting those that are favorable and rejecting those that are unfavorable. The third symptom of surrender is one that has faith that Krishna is our only protector. The most caring, the most loving, the most powerful, the most wealthy, the most potent mother and father. How much protection they can provide to their child? Is it unlimited? Despite so much love, their capacity to protect child is limited. How much the government, with its great military force, can protect its citizens? Limited? Of course. We see breaks in that limit all the time. So who is the ultimate protector? That is Krishna. Krishna promises always, and we see in so many pastimes how Krishna is the ultimate protector. So seeing Krishna as our ultimate protector is a symptom of our surrender. If we seek shelter of so many other things for our protection, it means we don't have yet full faith in the protection of Krishna. The fourth symptom of surrender is one has full faith and understanding that they're fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. Nothing I can do without the mercy of Krishna. He is my complete maintainer. Meaning I have no ability to even maintain myself by my own will, my own action. And if we see, every spoonful of food, every grain of rice we take requires the mercy of Krishna. If the sun is not there, the rains are not there, if the soil is not there, heck, where the seed is going to come from? Where is the seed coming from? It's Krishna. So one who has surrender realizes that everything I have, I am fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. He has already explained in this chapter how he is present everywhere through his energies. what independence we think we have of Krishna is all illusion. As soon as we feel I am somewhat separated from Krishna, it's an illusion. That is Maya. Not possible. So that is the fourth symptom of... What was the fourth symptom?
Fake.
No.
Krishna's mercy.
Krishna's mercy. Yeah, I knew it was I'm drawing a blank on the fifth. It'll come to me. The sixth symptom is one should be very meek and humble. When one is meek and humble, it means they're fully dependent and surrendering to the wonderful, powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tunadapi sunichena tarodapi shrihishana amani namananena kirtaniya sadahani. This is the mood we must inculcate in ourselves. Because as soon as I think I can do on my own, I have some strength, will not surrender. It takes great humility. Great humility. So these are the symptoms of surrender. And they're very, very powerful. And we can try to bring them out. When we say surrender, it is not an abstract concept. It is a very specific science. And by taking to the process of bhakti, devotional service, our mood of surrender should increase as we purify from our feeling of, I can do this on my own. So then, Krishna begins to speak in this chapter about those who do not surrender to him. And those are the miscreants, the duskitanas. Krishna explained 4 types of people who do not surrender to Krishna. Mostly ignorant of some of this fact. Engrossed in all the various material endeavors. Become blinded by reality. Blinded by ego. Then Krishna spoke about the 4 pious souls who surrender to him, though they have some desire. They want something in return. They want money, freedom from distress. They're curious, or they're wise. They surrender to Krishna, and for that Krishna considers them pious. Even though they're coming to him with some desire, it is not ananya bhakti, pure bhakti. It is with some desire. But still, Krishna says they are pious because by surrendering to Krishna, even in desire, ultimately Krishna will help us purify of those desires. And he'll give us what we are asking for in proportions that are good for us. And what is good for us is our progression, our development of bhakti. So we may go to Krishna and ask him for money. But he'll give to the extent it is good, not for our bank account. Not too good to create the envy of the neighbors. But good for our bhakti. Then Krishna will give. And that is the great benediction of going to the Supreme Lord, even if we have desires. It's because he'll help purify us of these desires, and he'll only give according to what was good for us. Just like a mother only gives ice cream to child according to what is good for them. Not every time they ask, but when it is okay for them. So now, in these next few verses, Krishna speaks in the 19th verse about the rarity of coming to devotional service. We should appreciate how rare it is to come in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord through his books like Srila Prabhupada. And have the opportunity to understand this science that is misunderstood by so many, by most people. Krishna is saying it's very rare. Now, starting in the 20th verse, Krishna speaks about those who surrender, but surrender not to Krishna, but to the various devatas. And Krishna speaks very directly in these verses. He says, those whose intelligence has been stolen. Nitya Gyan. The Gyan has been stolen by material desires, surrender unto demigods, and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. He's going to explain why he considers them intelligence to be stolen. Then he says in the next verse, though their intelligence is stolen, he says, I am seated in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady. So who is the enabler of even our worship of the devatas? It's Krishna. We're fully under the control and influence of Krishna. To be able to even worship the devatas, we require some faith, right? In order to do some yajna, sacrifice something, we have to have some faith that something will come back in return. Otherwise we won't do. Where does that faith come from? I make his faith steady. It is Krishna alone. He is the source of that faith. And then he says, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtain his desires. So now let's read the 23rd verse, and we'll see the continuation of this discussion about the worship of the devatas. Someone wants to read the verse? The English is fine. 23.
antavat phalaṁ teṣāṁ tad-bhavaty alpa-medhasām devān deva-yajo yānti mad-bhaktā yānti māmapi.
Translation?
Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet.
Purport?
Some commentators on the Bhagavad-gītā say that one who worships a demigod can reach the Supreme Lord. But here it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to the different planetary systems where various demigods are situated, just as a worshipper of the sun achieves the sun, or a worshipper of the demigod of the moon achieves the moon. Similarly, if anyone wants to worship a demigod like Indra, he can attain that particular god's planet. It is not that everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is denied here, for it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to different planets in the material world, but the devotee of the Supreme Lord goes directly to the supreme planet of the Personality of Godhead.
Next.
Here the point may be raised that if the demigods are different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, then the same aim should be achieved by worshipping them. However, the worshippers of the demigods are less intelligent because they do not know to what part of the body food must be supplied. Some of them are so foolish that they claim that there are many parts and many ways to supply food. This isn't very sanguine. Can anyone supply food to the body through the ears or eyes? They do not know that these demigods are different parts of the universal body of the their ignorance, they believe that each and every demigod is a separate god and a competitor of Supreme Lord. Not only are the demigods parts of the Supreme Lord, but ordinary living entities are also. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is stated that the Brahmanas are the head of the Supreme Lord, and the Kshatriyas are his arms, the Vaishyas are his waist, and Shudras are his legs, and all serve different functions, regardless of the situation. If one knows that both the demigod and he himself are the part and parcel of Supreme Lord, his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, he achieves the different planets where the demigods reside. This is not the same destination the devotees reaches. The results achieved by the demigods' benedictions are perishable, because within this material world, the planets, the demigods and their worshippers are all perishable. Therefore, it is clearly stated in this verse that all results achieved by worshipping demigods are perishable, and therefore such worship is performed by the less intelligent living entity. Because the pure devotee engaged in the Krishna consciousness is devotional service of the Supreme Lord, achieves eternal blissful existence that is full of knowledge. His achievements and those of the common worshipper of the demigods are different. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. This favor is unlimited. His mercy is unlimited. Therefore, the mercy of the Supreme Lord upon his pure devotee is unlimited.
Okay. So 2 topics in this verse. So again, we're speaking about surrender. Ultimately, we should surrender to Krishna, but not everyone does. Some don't surrender to anyone, like the miscreants. Some surrender to Krishna with some desires. And now, those who surrender to the devatas. So Krishna has said their intelligence has been stolen. And here he says, men of small knowledge. Why is he speaking this way? Is he envious of the devatas? Is he thinking, oh, they're worshipping them, they should worship me? Is he speaking, sometimes rascals want to proclaim that Krishna is being overconfident. Why is he speaking this way?
Since he wants to give us the permanent happiness, worshipping demigods will give the temporary results. He wants to give the best to his devotees.
So Krishna is giving his friend Arjuna and to all of his friends, all of us, the best of advice. When we go to our friend and we ask for some help, we want them to give the best to their ability. So sometimes when we are giving advice to someone, we have to speak a little bit strongly to protect them from some outcomes that may seem good for them, but don't do it. Don't smoke these cigarettes, they'll kill you. Don't take these drugs, you'll do something crazy. You have to speak strongly. Right? So Krishna is speaking strongly here to protect us from one flaw. And what is the flaw in worshipping the devatas? Why is he saying small intelligence?
Temporary.
If you go to the doctor and you ask them, just cure me for today, and then let the disease come back tomorrow, would we consider that an intelligent visit to the doctor? We'd consider that foolish. We'd consider it a waste of money, waste of time. Because you'll get some temporary relief from your sickness and it's going to come right back. What's the point? When we worship the devatas, what are we worshipping them for?
Material desires.
Like what?
Money,
Money,
opposite sex, prosperity, land,
welfare, children. What else?
position,
power,
fame,
and fame. And what are we trying to do with all of that?
joy.
Enjoy. Become happy, right? That's the goal. The goal is okay. Just like going to the doctor, the goal is to become healthy so that we may become free from the difficulties of our sickness. Right? That's why we go to the doctor. It's not like we have a personal objection to the bacteria in our body. It's not like we don't like them. We don't like the effect they have on our body. So we want them out because they're impacting my happiness. So similarly, we go and we may worship these various devatas, but the results are temporary. And they are temporary and limited. Now, why are they temporary and limited?
Because they are temporary and they are limited.
Because the devatas themselves are temporary. How are they temporary?
And they are created by Supreme Lord.
The devatas are posts. They are positions. Just like the president has a term that is temporary. It is a prescribed duration. And a particular living entity may occupy that post of president. But that occupying that post is temporary. So the various jiva tattvas may elevate themselves by becoming very powerful, great devotees, not necessarily pure devotees, but very nice devotees of the Lord. They may come to the post of a devata. But we know every material body is temporary. Yes, the material duration of that body, just like we see, you have some flies in your house maybe. What is the duration of their body?
3 days.
2-3 days. In 2 days, they go from infant to youth to middle age to old age retirement home and die. In 3 days. Whole cycle is gone. All 6 cycles. So relative us, we think their lifespan is insignificant. So similarly, the devatas have a very significant lifespan. But it is a beginning and end. So because they are temporary, they are limited, whatever they may give is also limited. So do we want permanent results or temporary results? So getting material happiness, material benedictions, it not only gives us temporary and limited results, it fuels our lust, our mode of passion. When we get it, are we happy and satisfied? Whatever boon it is that we get, are we all set? We want more. We want more and more. And the devatas, they give not according to what is good for us. They give according to the formula of the yajna performed. And we see in our history, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, so many demons, they worship the devatas. They get great powers. And is it good for them? So Krishna is saying, the men of small intelligence, if we want eternal happiness, we want unlimited happiness, we want unlimited mercy, then where must we find that? Krishna. Because Krishna is the only unlimited truth. He is the absolute. Krishna's mercy, we sometimes may think, oh, what if he runs out? Not running out. Krishna keeps giving and giving and giving. But his supply keeps growing, not diminishing. Like in our bank account, we take out $100, we have $100 less in the account. But Krishna's account, he gives $100, still he has full balance. There's no diminution. Right? He remains complete. So then, will he be shy in giving out his mercy? We become shy to give out when we have limited stock. In the Sunday feast, when they're serving gulab jamuns, they're shy to give out. Limited stock. But if we have unlimited stock, take 2, take 3. Don't worry, diabetes. You die tomorrow. So one of the techniques of good prasadam distributor organizers, first, they make the place for all those serving. They make their place in queue for them. Otherwise, they'll give less, thinking, what if it runs out for me? I don't want to give so much. So instead, first, feed them, then they'll serve fully. This is the art of prasadam distribution. Because they're scared of limited supply. But Krishna, when he is serving out to all of us, when we surrender to him, Prabhupada is saying, unlimited mercy. No stop. Remains complete. Right? We know that Om Purnam Adaha Purnam. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. He's creating so many things that are perfectly complete, but he remains full after having made all of these things. After having supplied all of the universes, providing all the facilities, his stock is still full. 1 minus 1 equals 1. So if we want eternal benefits, eternal happiness, then one must go to Krishna. So the first thing in this verse is the results are different. One has temporary results, one has eternal results. So one with intelligence, where they will go? It's common sense. So obvious. So obvious that Krishna said, of small intelligence, they'll look elsewhere. Just like it is foolish to go to the doctor and say, give me a temporary cure, I don't want a long-term cure. Now, the second point in this verse, which is another very common misconception. And what is the common misconception Krishna is addressing in this verse? The second one? And what is the misconception here?
No matter which demigod you worship, the result is the same as reaching the Supreme.
Worship anyone. You're all going to the same place. Whatever your heart says. That's convenient. That's attractive to hear. People want to hear that, so people will expound such foolish philosophy. If you want to, just take one experiment. You go to the airport and you buy a ticket to go from, we're in Detroit here, to Chicago. And then you go to the gate that is going to Hawaii. And you say, I want to board. I say, no, whatever, I bought a ticket. Ticket's a ticket. Wherever you want, you go. And they'll say, Welcome aboard. Fasten your seatbelt. Let's say you bought a ticket to Chicago. That ticket will take you to Chicago. If you want to go to Hawaii, you have to buy a ticket to Hawaii. It's common sense. If you want to go to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you must worship and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you want to go to the abode of the devotees, then you worship devotees. So this idea is, as Prabhupada says, very foolish. Some of them are so foolish they claim that there are many parts and many ways to supply food. He's speaking about the parts of the body. So, we must decide where is it that we want to go, and then shape our worship and surrender accordingly. Right? Like any journey, we first define where is it that we're going. Then we decide when we are going to go, how we are going to go, what route we are going to go. So we first have to decide where we want to go. So where do we want to go? What do we want?
Permanent.
We want
Permanent blissful happiness.
permanent blissful happiness. What else do we want? That pretty much sums it up. But
Supreme planet.
the Supreme Planet. Why do we want Supreme Planet?
Freedom from rebirth.
Freedom from rebirth. Okay.
It is devoid of misery, so
Devoid of miseries.
pure happiness.
Pure happiness. No more stress. No more fear. No more anxiety. No more heart beating, middle of the night, worried. Oh, this, that, sleep is ruined. We want peace. Where do the devatas reside? In the higher planets of the material world. It is within the material world. Which means it is temporary. Is it free of miseries? Are there no disturbances on Indra Loka? No anxiety? No stress? We see. Even there is fear. Fear of what? Losing the position. There's also fear of dying. Because they know it's coming to an end. It is a limited time. As soon as something is temporary, we'll be unhappy. Why? Because as soon as we obtain it, we begin to lament. Because we know we will lose it. But if we get something that we know is eternal, then there's no lamentation. So in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, free of misery. There is no lamentation. Everything is eternal, full of bliss and happiness. There is no stress. In the Vaikuntha planets, everyone is rendering service to Krishna in the form of Narayan, Vishnu. Everyone has this great power to achieve whatever they want. It's very powerful. But what would happen if we had that power? Chaos. Why? Because we have impure desires. But in Vaikuntha, everyone has this power. And it is only used to serve the Supreme Lord. So, by definition, with this power, it means there's nothing that we want that we don't have. Which means then, always happy. There's no more hankering, no more lamenting. Because you have this potency, but the potency is never misused. It's used not to elevate oneself, but to enhance the service of the Supreme Lord. That is why it is free of misery. And when two people are serving in Vaikuntha, one doesn't think, oh, this person has this service, I wish I had that. Why? Because if that wish was there, you can also serve. So everyone is so perfectly content in their service. Everyone thinks, I have it best. And you do, from your nature, have it best. And in every service that rendered, Krishna is reciprocating. So sometimes we may think, if I have one service, what if I become bored in that service? Right? What if I become tired of that service? Well, what we enjoy in any service is the reciprocation. Right? How Krishna reciprocates with us. It's explained in the Bhagavad-gītā that Krishna reciprocates with each of his servants more each day. It's infinitely increasing. So whatever pleasure we get today from our service, tomorrow it will be even more pleasing. And whatever today we got was more pleasing than yesterday. So what are we so anxious to do? Serve tomorrow. And this goes on infinitely. It is ever increasing. We can't contemplate it because our material minds are taught to think in limited terms. We are conditioned to think in limited terms. So we can't even perceive this. But that is the reality. So now how many of us want to experience that type of service to the Lord? It's unlimited. The rasa, the relationship is ever increasing. And the facilities to serve are unlimited. There's no running out of facilities. So our desire, ultimately, to go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead's home is to have these means to render service. And yes, in that purity of service, one will experience the greatest of eternal happiness and bliss. But as one purifies, even one loses their own desires for their own happiness. Only wants to please Krishna. And with the purity of that service, one experiences incalculable bliss. It is forced upon the jiva. Even if one says, I don't want it, Krishna says, too bad, take my mercy. That is how sweet. So, but to obtain that, one has to set that as the destination in the GPS. It says, I want to go there. And then hit go. And what is hitting go? Picking up our japa beads, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, taking Krishna Prasada, associated. But if we think, I just do anything, it all goes to the same place. Good luck. It doesn't work that way. So Krishna is warning us. He's warning us that those who worship the demigods, go to them. And those who worship me, come to me, the Supreme Planet. So we must obtain knowledge. What are my options? What are the characteristics of these different options? And then we have to decide. Anyway, we are surrendering to Krishna, either directly or indirectly. Even the atheist is surrendered to Krishna. It's surrendering to the material energy. Who is the material energy? Krishna's energy. So either we are knowingly or unknowingly, directly or indirectly, we're surrendering to Krishna. Why not surrender which unlocks this eternal, unlimited bliss. So let us not be of small intelligence and through conventional logic or convenient, rationalization think, oh yeah, it's all the same. Whoever you want, just do with your heart. No. Follow the instructions that Krishna is giving and is passing down through parampara. Then we'll find. You don't go to the doctor, just take any medicine, it'll cure you. No, gives you specific medicine and a specific regimen to follow based on your affliction. The affliction of ahankara has a specific medicine, and it is chanting of Om. Okay? Any comments or questions?
Can we review the 6 symptoms of surrender?
Review the 6 symptoms of surrender. Yes.
So it's reject anything, accept anything favorable
Yep.
for Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Reject that which is unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. See Krishna as the ultimate protector. See Krishna as the ultimate source of mercy.
Yes, and the 5th one, thank you, now I remember. The 5th one is, the 5th symptom of surrender is that one only has desires of Krishna. One is single-mindedly focused in Krishna. That is a symptom of surrender. No other desires, just Krishna. And the 6th is to be meek and humble. It takes great humility to follow. And surrender does not happen overnight. It's not like we flip a switch. I'm surrendered soul. Hare Krishna. No, surrender is a long time process. We have surrendered to Maya for millions of lifetimes. So learning now to surrender to Krishna, but with sincere enthusiasm and determination, it can happen. Krishna says it can easily cross beyond by this power of surrender. And surrender carries a negative connotation in the material world. If I surrender, I'm weak. I surrender because I lost the battle. But surrender is actually it takes the highest form of strength. And when one surrenders to Krishna, one achieves complete freedom from all the things that plague, all the difficulties, particularly the mind. No more fear. If I have complete faith in Krishna's protection, what I will fear? If I'm fully dependent on Krishna's mercy, whatever comes, comes. That is Krishna's mercy. Nothing. If I have humility, how my feelings will ever be hurt? As soon as I have expectations, then potential for my feelings to be hurt. If I'm only performing the good activities, rejecting all the bad, I find perfection. Any other questions?
When we say we should have determination and enthusiasm, so what happens when we fail? There are times when Maya wins at least. So does that mean we don't have the necessary determination, or how should we react?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have ups and downs in our journey, but we need to work to create no more downs and all ups. And that's why Rupa Goswami says, Utsahan nischaya daryat. One should be endeavoring with great intelligence, being enthusiastic. So we have to be determined. And when our determined falters, we should double down on our sadhana. Our sadhana is the ultimate source of our spiritual strength. So when we go through a lapse in our determination, we should redouble our efforts. Kind of circle back, surrender back to the strength of our sadhana. That is the source of our strength. And association is always a helpful part of when we go through lapses. Sometimes we run away from association, but instead we should run to it, because in the strength of association, we become re-energized, re-enthused. So on our own, Maya is tough, but together, locked arm in arm, we stand a fighting chance. So our sadhana and our association, just like anything, when we fail, what do? We pick ourselves up and try again harder. Don't become, dejected. We should become aware and, appropriately remorseful of our lack of determination. I'd say appropriately. And surrender back. Krishna will help us. But determination is very important. We should become very sincere in our devotion, very precise, very dedicated, not whimsical. If it happens, happens. If it doesn't, doesn't. And part of that means to become regulated. If you see the life of Srila Prabhupada, he was very regulated. Everything was very precise. He was timely in everything. He was consistent. It was that helps create our consistency and determination. So the more discipline, like the military, right? Everything is so structured for a purpose. So I'm not saying we become militaristic. That's not my point. But the point is, the more we become systematic, the less chances we have of this occurring. The important things in our life we take seriously. When the fight is about to board, we're always there 30 minutes early. The curtains to see the Supreme Personality Godhead are about to open, and we're 30 minutes late. A lack of our faith. So we try to slowly correct those. Yeah? Any other comments, questions? Okay. So next week we're going to discuss about the impersonal and personal nature of the Lord. Krishna, the 24th verse, is speaking about those who deny the existence of this personal nature of the Supreme Lord. It's a very important verse. We'll likely conclude maybe most of the chapter next week. Now we'll take the process of chanting to increase our surrender and fuel our determination. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.